Thank you very much, Senator Mullin.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, General, for wanting to step back into service. Your retirement didn't last too long, and the idea that you're willing to jump back and serve just speaks volume to the true inner spirit that you have. And I want to thank you for doing that. You have made a tremendous amount of sacrifice already, and you know, eyes wide open, what this job is going to entail. You have some real challenges ahead of you, and I want to start first talking about the defense industry. I know you're familiar with the so-called Last Supper in 1994, to where we basically encouraged our defense industry to consolidate. I'm a firm believer in looking back and looking at things of where it went wrong, because since then our defense industry really hasn't been able to deliver on time and on budget on some of the most critical needs we have. We've seen from our planes in the air to our ships in the shipyards to the equipment that we're needing is constantly behind what we're needing. Today, when we ask for technology that's being used against us or that our adversaries have already may achieved, when we ask our defense industry to deliver, it's 5 to 7 years. If we're lucky, it's 3, and yet it's never on time. Now, you come from a unique position, being active, being reserve, and being in the private sector. I feel like that this is one of the biggest threats that we have. We have a technology need today, and it's being delivered 5 years from now. We are 5 years behind. Sir, how do you plan on tackling this? Because I do feel like this is the biggest threat to our military today.
Well, Senator, I agree. It's a huge problem. Technology is evolving so quickly that every time we field capabilities, they're obsolete oftentimes when they hit the force, and that's not acceptable. I think it goes back to something that the chairman and I talked about at the beginning of the hearing, and that's related to having agility in our requirements and building a system of acquisition that allows us to take advantage of the current technologies, not those of the past. And so if confirmed, you know, I'll work with the Joint Staff, the Joint Chiefs, and of course OSD to pick up the speed, pace, and tempo of fielding the capabilities that we need that are not obsolete.
How do you plan on bringing private industry back in to actually go around some of our primes that are incapable of delivering in a quick fashion?
Well, Senator, I think we need a mix of both startups that are new entrants to the industry, but we also do need the primes. The answer is E, all of the above. There are components that the primes can only do, and we have to leverage that capability. And then there's a bunch of things that new entrants will do to move forward. So, you know, I think the answer is, as I mentioned, all of the above.
I agree that the primes are important, but they have failed miserably on staying on budget and on time and being adequate to delivering today's needs. I don't like rewarding those that have not delivered on our adequately when we've asked. And we know that's been a problem. So holding them accountable is important. Now, I want to switch gears real quick about Afghanistan. It's deeply personal to me, and I know it is to you and anyone else that had the privilege of serving the nation in Afghanistan. But because of our disastrous withdrawal, I feel like there's a hesitation in our military and our military family to actually step forward and make that sacrifice again. I think there's a lot of doubt that the United States is able to stand behind what our first mission is, and then to be able to bring pride to those that sacrificed. With that brings a morale issue to those that are still serving, those sometimes with the most experience in there. And I feel like we may be having a drain in knowledge of those that have sacrificed so much. How do you plan on retaining those and restoring that trust back in the military that says, hey, we got you. We're not going to leave you on the battlefield. We're not going to let your sacrifice die. but we're going to let you walk away with a tremendous amount of pride, knowing that your sacrifice meant something to this country.
Well, Senator, I appreciate the question. I think that's one of our most important jobs as leaders, whether it be at the chairman level or all the way down to the platoon leader level, is inspiring those who serve, taking care of them always, but also making sure they know how much we appreciate them and their families and their service.
But that doesn't address what happened.
Well, Senator, you mean in Afghanistan?
Yes.
You know, that withdrawal was not what anyone would have wanted, very difficult circumstances. I think the officers on the ground did the best that they could with the policy decisions that were made. We mourn the loss of the 13 at Abbey Gate, and we have to hold those accountable if there was something for them to be held accountable for, and I know the department is looking into that. But again, most of those professional military officers were executing the direction and orders of policymakers above them.
Thank you.
General, is